Very good morning to one and all. I welcome you all for the next lecture of heat transfer. Please let me know whether my voice is audible and can you see my presentation. Great, great. So in the last lecture, we have discussed the problems on forced boundary conditions, or we can say that the forced convection, and also we have discussed the Reynolds analogy, which interpret the relationship between the shear stress and the heat transfer rate. Okay, so in the today's lecture, we are trying to understand the correlations for the natural convection and uh, further the problems on this particular natural convection. One problem we will discuss on the natural convection. So everyone knows that what is meant by natural convection. If there is no external agency to blow the fluid over the heated surface or to blow the heat hot fluid over the cold surface, and the fluid momentum happen because of a density difference, and that density difference happen because of a temperature difference in the fluid. Okay, that is nothing but natural convection. And by dealing with dimensional analysis of natural convection, we come to know that the Grashoff's number and the Prandtl numbers are the most important part in the natural convection. Also, the Nusselt number is also included in this particular phenomenon. Okay, so Grashoff's number is specifically dealing with the natural convection. Grashoff's number is specifically dealing with the natural convection, and here we can say that there is also a turbulent flow and uh, laminar flow in case of a natural convection. Okay, in case of a natural convection, there is also turbulent flow and laminar flow. So how to distribute or how to segregate this laminar flow and turbulent flow in case of a natural convection? So for that reason, we are using one more dimensionless number, that is nothing but a Rayleigh number. Okay, Rayleigh number. So Rayleigh number is the product of a Grashoff's number and Prandtl number. Rayleigh number, which is symbolically represented as capital R small a, it is the product of Grashoff's number and Prandtl number. Okay, and segregation according to this particular Rayleigh number is if in bifurcation, we can say that the bifurcation of a laminar flow and turbulent flow. So here it is given that the conversion, okay, or transition in a free convection boundary layer occurs when the value of a Rayleigh number approaches 10 raised to 9. Okay, means what? In rough manner, we can say that the 10 raised to 9, if the Rayleigh number is less than 10 raised to 9, then we can say that the boundary layer, natural convection boundary layer, is a laminar boundary layer, and if this particular Rayleigh number is greater than 10 raised to 9, then we can say that the boundary layer in natural convection is a turbulent boundary layer. Okay, is a turbulent boundary layer. So the dimensionless numbers which we need to consider in this particular natural convection correlations are nothing but Nusselt number, Grashoff number, and Prandtl number. We have discussed their significance also and their formulas also. So Nusselt number is represented as or formulated as H multiplied by L divided by K. Grashoff's number is formulated as G beta delta T multiplied by L cube divided by mu square, and Prandtl number is formulated as mu Cp divided by K. Okay, mu Cp divided by K. Now we know that we have to use the empirical correlationship or the correlations to determine the heat transfer coefficient. As we know that the Newton's law of cooling is not provide the appropriate value of a heat transfer coefficient, or it is insignificant to provide the value of a heat transfer coefficient, as the heat transfer coefficient is not a property of a fluid or the property of an object on which the fluid is flowing. It depends on the different properties of a fluid, uh, and we have to consider the local heat transfer coefficient. The local heat transfer coefficient is nothing but at what location we are measuring the properties of a fluid. So that the heat transfer coefficient at that particular point is nothing but local heat transfer coefficient, and the another part is nothing but average heat transfer coefficient, that is nothing but overall heat transfer coefficient over that particular object. Okay, so this to determine the heat transfer coefficient we required empirical correlationship. Okay, empirical correlationship, as the Newton's law is insignificant to provide the appropriate value of a heat transfer coefficient, or it is insignificant to provide the correct heat transfer rate. Okay, so for that reason we have to depend on number of theories, correlationship mechanisms, and we have to derive this particular dimensionless number, and their interrelationship will provide you the actual heat transfer coefficient, or numerical heat transfer coefficient. Okay, so we have to consider the correlationship for the free convection. Okay, we have to consider the correlationship for the free convection. So in that also, these relations are different for the different positions. Okay, different objects. Okay, so here we are considering for the plate and cylinder only. Okay, plate and cylinder only. So there are multiple objects are there. Accordingly, the correlations are differ. Okay, keep in mind, but we are constrained. We are providing the boundary to our knowledge for this particular two object only: vertical plate and cylindrical, or and cylinder. Okay, plate and cylinder. Okay, and their positions as vertical cylinder and vertical plate, and horizontal cylinder and horizontal plate. Okay, so first empirical correlation we are going to discuss for the vertical plate and cylinder. Okay, vertical plate and cylinder. Now, according to Rayleigh number, we know that the Grashof number and Prandtl number is greater than 10 raised to 9. Then there will be a transition in a flow. Transition means the flow is converting from laminar flow to the turbulent flow. So if this Rayleigh number is less than 10 raised to 9, that is nothing but product of a Grashof number and Prandtl number is less than 10 raised to 9, and it is greater than 10 raised to 4, then it will be considered as a laminar flow natural convection. Okay, laminar flow natural convection. So in that case, the average Nusselt number is given as nu bar is equal to, that is nothing but average Nusselt number is equal to 0.59 multiplied by inside the bracket Grashof's number multiplied by Prandtl number and bracket raised to 1/4. Okay, and if the value of this particular Rayleigh number, that is the product of Grashof's number and Prandtl number, is greater than 10 raised to 9 and less than 10 raised to 10 raised to 12. So in that case, we have to take that particular flow condition as a turbulent flow. Okay, and for vertical plate and cylinder, we have to consider the relationship as nu bar, that is the average Nusselt number, is equal to 0.10 inside the bracket Grashof's number multiplied by Prandtl number raised to 1/3. Okay, so this is for these correlations we can use for vertical plate and vertical cylinders. Okay, vertical plate and vertical cylinder. So in case of a horizontal plate, okay, the plate is horizontal one, and in that case the laminar flow is considered when the Grashof's product of a Grashof's number and Prandtl number is greater than 10 raised to 5 and less than 2 into 10 raised to 7. Okay, for the horizontal plate condition is different one. When we have to consider the laminar flow when the product of Grashof's number and Prandtl number, or we can say that the Rayleigh number is greater than 10 raised to 5 and less than 2 into 10 raised to 7. So in that case, we have to consider the laminar flow. So in that case, the average Nusselt number, that is nu bar, can be given as 0.54 multiplied by Grashof's number multiplied by Prandtl number raised to 1/4. Okay, there is slight differences in the multiplication factors only. Okay, there are slight differences in the multiplication factors, and that we have to remember here. Okay, if the correlation is not provided in the problem statement, then we have to uh, revise that particular correlation and we have to solve the problem. Okay. So in this case, the Nuzult number will be provided as 0.54. Average Nuzult number is equal to 0.54 into bracket Grashoff's number multiplied by Prandtl number raised to 1 by 4. And if the value of the product of Grashoff's number and Prandtl number, that is nothing but Rayleigh number, is greater than 2 into 10 raised to 7 and less than equal to 3 into 10 raised to 10, then that flow or the natural convection flow will be considered as turbulent flow. So in that case, we have to consider the Nuzult number, which is equal to 0.14 inside the bracket Grashoff number multiplied by Prandtl number raised to 1 by 3. Okay. So this is about the horizontal plate. Okay. And then horizontal cylinder. So in case of a horizontal cylinder, we have to consider the laminar flow when the product of Grashoff's number and Prandtl number is greater than 10 raised to 4 and less than 10 raised to 9. So in that case, the Nuzult number will be given as average Nuzult number is equal to 0.53 multiplied by Grashoff's number multiplied by Prandtl number raised to 1 by 4. And if this value is greater than 10 raised to 9 and less than 10 raised to 12, so in that case, we have to consider the average Nuzult number is equal to 0.13 inside the bracket Grashoff's number multiplied by Prandtl number raised to 1 by 3. Okay. So this correlationship we have to remember, and their condition for the laminar flow and the turbulent flow are the most important part to apply the correlationship. Okay. To apply the correlationship. So we will write first of all this particular theoretical part and then we will move for the problem. Okay. So write down correlation for natural convection. Correlation for natural convection. If you have any doubt, any question, you can ask. Correlation for natural convection. Write down the heading. Is that first, write down, it has been observed that it has been observed that the transition in free convection, it has been observed that the transition in free convection boundary layer, the transition in free convection boundary layer occurs when the value of Rayleigh number, when the value of Rayleigh number in bracket capital R small a, in bracket capital R small a, approaches 10 raised to 9, approaches 10 raised to 9. Okay. Transition means conversion of a flow type. Okay. Transition means conversion of a flow type. Laminar conversion means laminar to turbulent conversion. So that is nothing but transition. Then Rayleigh number is represented as, or you can write the formula of a Rayleigh number. Rayleigh number in bracket capital R small a is equal to product of Grashoff's number and Prandtl number, is equal to product of Grashoff's number and Prandtl number. So GR multiplied by PR, Okay. Right on the next point, dimensionless numbers apply for the free convection. Dimensionless number apply for the free or natural convection. Dimensionless number apply for the free and or natural convection. The first dimensionless number we have to consider as the first dimensionless number we have to consider as Nusselt number is equal to Nusselt number is equal to Nu is equal to HL divided by K. Nu is equal to HL divided by K. Second one, Grashof number. Grashof's number is equal to GR is equal to G beta delta T into L cube divided by nu square. G beta delta T multiply by L cube divided by nu square. Then third one is Prandtl number. Third one is Prandtl number is equal to PR is equal to mu Cp divided by K is equal to mu Cp divided by K. Then empirical correlations for free convection. Empirical correlations for free convection. Empirical correlations for free convection. First one, vertical plate and cylinder. Vertical plate and cylinder. That first flow condition is laminar flow. For laminar flow, so laminar flow will be considered when the product of Grashof's number and Prandtl number is greater than 10 raised to 4 and less than 10 raised to 9. Therefore, Nusselt number is equal to average Nusselt number Nu bar for the laminar flow for the vertical plate and cylinder. It is given as 0.59 inside bracket Grashof's number multiplied by Prandtl number raised to 1 by 4. Average Nusselt number is equal to 0.59 inside bracket Grashof's number multiplied by Prandtl number raised to 1 by 4. Then turbulent flow will be considered when product of Grashof's number and Prandtl number is greater than 10 raised to 9 and less than 10 raised to 12. So therefore, in this case, average Nusselt number will be given as 0.10, 0.10 inside bracket Grashof's number multiplied by Prandtl number raised to 1 by 3. Okay. So these two equations are useful for the vertical plate also and vertical cylinder also. Okay. Vertical plate and vertical cylinder also. Then next, horizontal plates. For the horizontal plates, second heading, horizontal plates. Horizontal plates. Laminar flow. For horizontal plate, laminar flow will be considered when Rayleigh number or product of Grashoff's number and Prandtl number is greater than 10 raised to 5 and less than or equal to 2 into 10 raised to 7. So in this case, Nusselt number will be given as average Nusselt number is equal to 0.54 inside bracket Grashoff's number multiplied by Prandtl number raised to 1 by 4. Grashoff's number multiplied by Prandtl number raised to 1 by 4. Then for the turbulent flow, for horizontal plate, turbulent flow will be considered when Grashoff's number multiplied by Prandtl number, that is the Rayleigh number, is greater than 2 into 10 raised to 7 and less than equal to 3 into 10 raised to 10. So in this case, the average Nusselt number is given as Nu bar is equal to 0.14 inside bracket Grashoff's number multiplied by Prandtl number bracket raised to 1 by 3. Then next, horizontal cylinder. Third object we have to consider as horizontal cylinder. For horizontal cylinder, laminar flow will be considered when Grashoff's number multiplied by Prandtl number is greater than 10 raised to 4 and less than 10 raised to 9. And in this case, the Nusselt number, average Nusselt number will be given as Nu bar is equal to 0.53 inside bracket Grashoff's number multiplied by Prandtl number raised to 1 by 4. And for horizontal cylinder, turbulent flow will be considered when the product of Grashoff's number and Prandtl number is greater than 10 raised to 9 and less than 10 raised to 12. In this case, for turbulent flow for the horizontal cylinder, average Nusselt number is equal to 0.13 Grashoff's number multiplied by Prandtl number raised to 1 by 3. Okay. Is there any doubt, any question in these correlations, empirical correlations for the natural convection? Okay, we'll discuss one problem, then you will get some idea about the natural convection and what kind of problems will be asked and what data are provided and how to solve such a problems. Okay, sometimes the properties of a fluids are not provided. In that case, we have to consider the properties of a fluid at bulk mean temperature or mean film temperature. Okay, how to calculate that mean film temperature we have discussed in the last lecture also in one of the problem, that the surface temperature plus fluid temperature divided by 2. So that temperature we have to consider for the considering the properties of a fluid at a particular location. Okay, so similarly, if the properties are provided, no need to consider the property table. So in that case, we have to consider the properties which are provided in that particular problem statement. Okay, so that is important also. So write down the problem number 1 or problem directly, because we are going to consider only one problem on this particular point. Problem: a vertical cylinder, a vertical cylinder, vertical cylinder 1.5 meter high, a vertical cylinder 1.5 meter high and 180 mm in diameter, and 180 mm in diameter, a vertical cylinder 1.5 meter high, 1.5 meter high and 180 mm in diameter, 180 mm in diameter, is maintained at is maintained at 100 degrees Celsius, is maintained at 100 degrees Celsius, is maintained at 100 degrees Celsius, is maintained at 100 degrees Celsius in an atmosphere environment, in an atmosphere environment, in an atmosphere environment of 20 degrees Celsius, in an atmosphere environment of 20 degrees Celsius. Full stop, full stop, full stop. Calculate, calculate the heat loss, calculate the heat loss, calculate the heat loss by free convection, by free convection, calculate the heat loss by free convection from the surface of the cylinder, from the surface of the cylinder, from the surface of the cylinder. Okay, and properties are provided to you. Properties of a fluid are provided to you. That is rho is equal to 1.06, 1.06, 1.06 kg per meter cube, 1.06 kg per meter cube. Then mu, rho is the density, mu. The next one, next property is mu. Mu is kinematic viscosity. Kinematic viscosity. Kinematic viscosity, and which is provided as 18.97, 18.97 into 10 raised to minus 6, into 10 raised to minus 6 meter square per second, meter square per second, comma Cp, that is specific heat. Specific heat is provided. Cp value. Cp is equal to 1.004, 1.004 kilojoule per kg Kelvin or kilojoule per kg degree Celsius. Anything you can consider, degree Celsius or degree Kelvin. 1.004 kilojoule per kg Kelvin And the last one is thermal conductivity is provided, capital K, as 0.1042, 0.1042, and it is provided in kilojoule per meter per hour Kelvin. Okay, kilojoule per meter per hour Kelvin. Okay, so normal unit of thermal conductivity, SI unit, we are considering that watt per meter Kelvin. Okay, but here the thermal conductivity is in a kilojoule per meter per hour Kelvin. Now the watt is the conversion of a joule per second. Okay, joule per second. So here we have to convert this kilojoule meter hour Kelvin in the form of a watt per meter Kelvin. Okay, watt per meter Kelvin. Okay, so we know that it is directly provided in the problem statement that the cylinder is vertical one and its dimensions are provided, height is provided for the cylinder. We can consider the length of that particular cylinder. Then the diameter is provided 180 mm. Okay, then the temperature, surface temperature T suffix S is provided for the cylinder as 100 degrees Celsius, and ambient air temperature, that is T naught or TA, is provided as 20 degrees Celsius. And we have to determine the heat transfer rate, heat loss, that is nothing but heat transfer rate in free convection. They have mentioned in the problem statement that the convection is a free convection. And first of all, we have to determine that the flow over the surface, whether it is laminar flow or a turbulent flow. Okay, for the vertical cylinder. Okay, so we know that for that reason we have to calculate the product of a Grashoff's number and Prandtl number. Okay, product of a Grashoff's number and Prandtl number. And for that reason we have to calculate first of all Grashoff's number and Prandtl number. Okay, Grashoff's number and Prandtl number. So we'll start the solution with the Grashoff's number. Okay, so Grashoff's number, the formula is G beta delta T into L cube divided by nu square, where G is nothing but acceleration due to gravity, beta is nothing but volumetric coefficient of volumetric expansion, delta T temperature difference between the surface and the surrounding, L cube is the length cube, and nu square is nothing but the kinematic viscosity square. Okay, so we first of all in this G value we know that delta T we can determine. L cube is nothing but the length cube or the height cube. Here the length of the plate is length of the vertical cylinder is provided. So, and nu is also provided in the given data in the properties. So that the only one unknown is nothing but coefficient of volumetric expansion, that is nothing but beta, that we have to calculate. And beta is nothing but the reciprocal of uh, mean film temperature. Beta is nothing but reciprocal of mean film temperature, and that temperature we have to consider in a absolute form, that is nothing but in a Kelvin. Okay, and its unit is beta unit is Kelvin raised to -1. Okay, so that we have to consider the mean film temperature at absolute temp or at in the form of a Kelvin, in the form of a Kelvin. So beta, formula for beta is given as 1 upon T suffix Fm plus 273. Okay, 273. So T suffix Fm is nothing but mean film temperature. T suffix Fm is nothing but mean film temperature. And how to calculate the mean film temperature? It is the average temperature of a surface and surrounding. Okay, it is the average temperature of a surface and surrounding. So we have to calculate first of all mean film temperature, which is equal to surface temperature is provided as 100 degrees Celsius and surrounding temperature is provided as 20 degrees Celsius and divided by 2, that is average of temperature. And we will get the mean film temperature as the 60 degrees Celsius. Okay, now we have to calculate beta, that is coefficient of volumetric expansion, and for that reason we have to use this particular formula. So beta is equal to mean film temperature is 60, and we have to add up 273 and we have to consider the reciprocal of that. So 1 divided by 60 plus 273. So that value, calculate this value. Please check that whether you are getting 0.003 Kelvin raised to -3. Kelvin raised to -1. 0.003 Kelvin raised to -1. Okay, Kelvin raised to -1. So this is the Kelvin raised to -1 is the unit for the beta. Then If you get the beta value, we have to calculate the Grashoff's number, because only beta is the unknown in the Grashoff's number. So put up all the values of the variables in the Grashoff's number formula and calculate the Grashoff's number. G value is 9.81. Beta just we have calculated 0.003. Delta T is the temperature difference between the surface and surrounding, and it is equal to 100 minus 20, multiply by L cube. L is provided as or the height or length of the cylinder is provided as 1.5 meter. So take the cube of 1.5 meter divided by nu square. Nu is the kinematic viscosity, and the nu value is provided in a given data as it is equal to 18.97 into 10 raised to minus 6, and we have to consider its square. So 10 raised to 18.97 multiplied by 10 raised to minus 6 bracket square. Okay. So do the calculation for the Grashoff's number and find out the Grashoff's number. Please check whether you are getting 2.208 into 10 raised to 8 or not. Okay. Then further, we required the another one number, that is nothing but Prandtl number, to evaluate that the flow is laminar flow or turbulent flow. So the Prandtl number will be provided as mu Cp divided by K. Okay, but directly mu value is not provided in the given data. Okay, but we know that the kinematic viscosity or the kinematic viscosity is equal to the dynamic viscosity divided by density. Okay, from that particular formula we come to know that the dynamic viscosity, which is equal to kinematic viscosity multiplied by density. Okay, we know the formula. Which formula? Kinematic viscosity is equal to dynamic viscosity divided by density. So from that formula, we can say that mu is equal to, that is dynamic viscosity is equal to kinematic viscosity multiplied by density. Okay. So by using that formula, we can say that the dynamic viscosity is equal to rho multiplied by nu. Okay. Rho is nothing but density and nu is nothing but kinematic viscosity. So which is equal to 1.06. This is the value of rho, which is provided as a given data in the properties, multiplied by new value is 18.97 multiplied by 10 raised to minus 6. Okay, so I'm getting the value of mu as 20.1082 into 10 raised to minus 6. Okay, and its unit is kg per meter second. Okay, I have forgot to write the unit. Okay, unit is kg meter per second. Okay, then further we required this particular formula Prandtl number, we required another one as a K, thermal conductivity. So thermal conductivity is provided in somewhat odd format, so we have to convert this in our regular unit format. Okay, so K is provided as a 0.1042 kilojoule per meter hour Kelvin. Okay, so we have to convert this into watt per meter Kelvin. Okay, so first of all we have to convert this kilojoule in joule. So for that reason we have to multiply with 10 raised to 3 in the numerator, and to convert hours in the second we have to divide by 3600. Okay, to convert hours in the second we have to divide by 3600. Okay, so we will get K as 0.1042 into 10 raised to 3 divided by 3600. Okay, so that will be the conversion in the form of a joule meter second Kelvin. Okay, joule per meter second Kelvin. Now joule per second is nothing but watt. Whatever the value you are getting by doing this particular calculation, that value will be in the form of a watt per meter Kelvin. Okay, that value will be in the form of a watt per meter Kelvin. So we can calculate the Prandtl number then. Prandtl number is equal to mu Cp divided by K. So mu value we have calculated over here 20 into 20.1082 into 10 raised to minus 6 multiply by Cp value is provided in a kilojoule in the form of kilojoule. So we have to convert that kilojoule value in the form of joule. So 1.004 kilojoule per kg Kelvin value is provided. So we have to multiply with the 10 raised to 3 so that it will be converted into a joule. Whole divided by thermal conductivity we have calculated in the form of watt per meter Kelvin. So divided by 0.02894. Okay. So that Prandtl number we will get 0.6976. Please check whether you are getting the same Prandtl number or not. Okay. So further, we have to consider the product of Grashoff's number and Prandtl number, that is nothing but our Rayleigh number, okay, and which will give you a deciding factor that whether the flow is laminar one or a turbulent one for the natural convection. Okay, so we have to take the product of Grashoff's number and Prandtl number. So Grashoff's number is 2.208 into 10 raised to 8. Prandtl number is 0.6976. Okay, and the multiplication of both the numbers will get the value is equal to 1.54 into 10 raised to 10 raised to 10. So once again you have to check the product. Okay, so this value is greater than for the our condition for vertical cylinder is that if the value is greater than 10 raised to 9 and less than 10 raised to 12, then the flow is turbulent flow. Okay, the flow is turbulent flow, and our value is in between 10 raised to 9 and 10 raised to 12. So the flow is turbulent flow. Okay, and for that reason, we have to consider the turbulent flow correlation for the vertical cylinder. Okay, turbulent flow correlation for the vertical cylinder. So for the vertical cylinder, for the turbulent flow, the average Nusselt number is given as 0.10 inside the bracket Grashoff's number multiplied by Prandtl number raised to 1 by 3. So earlier to this particular step, you have calculated Grashoff's number multiplied Prandtl number. So just put up that values, calculate Nusselt number. Nusselt number we will get 248.79. We know that average Nusselt number is equal to H bar multiplied by L divided by K. H bar is nothing but average heat transfer coefficient. L is the length of cylinder and K is the thermal conductivity. So in this formula, we can calculate the H bar. Okay, as we have already calculated the Nu bar, and L and K values are the given data. So we can calculate the H bar. H bar is equal to Nu bar multiplied by K divided by L, which is equal to 248.79. K value we have calculated 0.2894 divided by 1.5. So that H bar value we will get as 4.800 watt per meter square Kelvin. Okay. So H bar, once again we will get the H bar, and we can calculate the rate of heat loss or the heat transfer rate by using the Newton's law of cooling. As if you get H bar value, then Q is equal to H bar multiplied by area multiplied by delta T. So that is nothing but our Newton's law of cooling. And according to the Newton's law of cooling, we can calculate the heat transfer rate or heat loss by the cylinder. So as we have to consider the surface area of the cylinder, and surface area of the cylinder is equal to the pi dl. Okay, pi dl is the surface area of the cylinder. So instead of A, we have to put up the values of pi dl. So we can put up Q is equal to 4.80 is the H bar, and multiply by pi dl, pi multiplied by 0.818 because 180 mm is the diameter. So 0.18 multiplied by height or the length of the cylinder is 1.5 meter. So put up the value of 1.5 meter. Delta T is the temperature difference between the surface and surrounding temperature. So surface temperature is 100 and surrounding temperature is 20. 100 minus 20, it is equal to 80. So that we will get the Q value as 325.74 watt. Okay, so in this manner we have to solve the problem. Okay, so you check that whether whatever the values we are getting, that my values are right or wrong, and if the values are wrong, please put up your values in the chat box and I will correct it. Okay, so start from initial point, the Grashoff's number calculation. Okay, so Grashoff's number G beta delta T L cube divided by nu square, where beta is equal to 1 upon T suffix Fm plus 273. T suffix Fm is nothing but mean film temperature. Okay, I made a mistake. It is not Fm, it is MF. Okay, MF, mean film temperature. Beta is equal to 1 divided by T suffix MF plus 273. First of all, we have to calculate the T suffix MF, mean film temperature, which is the average of surface temperature and surrounding temperature. Surface temperature is given as 100 and the surrounding temperature is 20. 100 plus 20 divided by 2, that is the average temperature. So 120 divided by 2, that is equal to 60 degrees Celsius. Then beta is equal to coefficient of volumetric expansion, which is equal to 1 divided by 60 plus 273. Do calculation. Please check whether you are getting 0.003 Kelvin raised to minus 1. Okay. Then you can calculate Grashoff's number. Grashoff's number Gr is equal to G beta delta T multiplied by L cube divided by nu square. Put up all the values of variables in the formula and calculate Grashoff's number. Okay, please check whether you are getting the Grashoff's number value 2.208 into 10 raised to 10. If not, put up your value in the chat box. Okay, so if you are getting the same value, we can move ahead. Whether you are getting the same value. Okay, then Prandtl number is equal to mu Cp divided by K. Here the mu value is not provided in the given data. So we can calculate from the formula that kinematic viscosity is equal to dynamic viscosity divided by density. So from that formula, we can modify that formula for dynamic viscosity as dynamic viscosity is equal to density multiplied by kinematic viscosity. So both the values are provided in the given data, so we can calculate the dynamic viscosity as 1.06 into 18.97 multiplied by 10 raised to minus 6. Please check whether you are getting the same value, 20.1082 multiplied by 10 raised to minus 6 kg meter per second. Unit is kg meter per second. Then we required next thermal conductivity conversion. Okay, thermal conductivity unit conversion, because we required this thermal conductivity for the calculation of a Prandtl number, and thermal conductivity is provided in kilojoule per meter per hour Kelvin. Okay, we have to convert it in a watt meter per meter Kelvin. So first of all, we have to multiply with 10 raised to 3 to convert kilojoule into a joule, and to convert per hour into per second, we have to divide by 3600. Okay, so it will be equal to 0.1042 into 10 raised to 3 divided by 3600, and this will be converted in the form of a joule per meter per second per Kelvin. Okay, whereas joule per second is nothing but watt, so we can get the thermal conductivity in a watt per meter Kelvin. Please check whether you are getting the value of a thermal conductivity as 0.02894 watt per meter Kelvin. And then if you get this value, then you can calculate the Prandtl number from the formula. Prandtl number is equal to mu Cp divided by K. Please check whether you are getting the value Prandtl number is equal to 0.6976, or is there any different value you are getting. If you are getting different value, please put up your value in the chat box. Okay, we can take the next lecture, no issue, as Montessori is busy in meeting, so we can conduct the next lecture also. So if you are getting the Prandtl number value same, then you can calculate the product of Grashoff's number and Prandtl number, and the final value of product, that is the Rayleigh number, Grashoff's number multiplied by Prandtl number. If you are getting the same values for the Grashoff's number and Prandtl number as I am getting, then you can calculate the further things. Grashoff's number multiplied by Prandtl number is equal to 2.208 into 10 raised to 10 multiplied by 0.6976, which is equal to 1.54 into 10 raised to 10. Okay, so If you get this value, then the flow for the natural convection is a turbulent flow, as the value is greater than 10 raised to 9 and less than 10 raised to 12. Then we can use the correlation. Nusselt number, average Nusselt number is equal to 0.10 inside bracket Grashoff's number multiplied by Prandtl number raised to 1 by 3. So put up the values as we have calculated the product of Grashoff's number and Prandtl number. Take that value and the further calculations are easy. Please check whether you are getting the average Nusselt number is equal to 248.79. Okay, so you are getting same value for Nusselt number. Then further you can calculate H bar. H bar, that is average heat transfer coefficient, is equal to Nu bar multiplied by K divided by L, which will be equal to 248.79 multiplied by K value is 0.02894 and L is 1.5, and you will get H bar as 4.800 watt per meter square Kelvin. And the further you have to calculate the rate of heat loss by using the Newton's law of cooling. Q will be given as H bar multiplied by A multiplied by delta. And here the area, surface area for the vertical cylinder, we have to consider as pi dl. Put up the values, all the values, and calculate Q. And please put up your Q answer in the chat. Final answer. Okay, okay, great. So, right, right. So then all the calculations are right, everyone? Okay. So I hope that you understood this particular problem, and you'll get some idea how to solve the problems on natural convection. Further, we will discuss about the combination of free convection and natural convection. Combination or combined natural convection and free convection. Okay. So write down the next heading: combined natural and forced convection. Combined natural and forced convection. Okay. So you can imagine that at a very high velocity, the forced convection is very much dominating over the natural convection. So forced convection value is very much high than the natural convection value. We need not to consider the natural convection in case of a very high velocity. But the velocity, when there is a very small velocity over the heated surface, or we can say that the blowing velocity or the external agency we are using to blow the air over the surface, and that velocity of air which is blowing over the surface is very small. So in that case we have to consider the natural convection with the forced convection, so in that case the natural convection also important, as well as the forced convection. So in many practical examples, natural and forced convection may occur together. Okay. At very high velocity, forced convection may be predominant, but at low velocity the effect of natural convection also must be included in the effect of forced convection. And the natural and forced convection may occur in the same direction or in opposite direction. It may be possible because we know that the natural convection occurs only in an upward direction. The flow of natural convection is in only in an upward direction, that is opposite to the gravity. So opposite to gravity force acting, that is nothing but buoyant force. Okay, that is nothing but buoyant force. So the natural convection flowing, or the flow of natural convection always in a upward direction. Okay, always in a upward direction. And if you are blowing the air in the opposite direction of a natural convection, so that is nothing but, if you blow the fan, or if you are using the fan to blow the air in opposite direction, that is upward to the downward motion, then the flow, the forced convection and free convection are in opposite direction. If you say that, if you are using the fan to blow the air in the same direction of a natural convection, that is nothing but from downward to the upward direction, so we can say that both are having the same direction, so segregation will be there for the natural convection and uh, uh, forced convection or combined convection. So for that reason, we have to use the two important numbers, that is nothing but Grashoff's number and Reynolds number. Okay, Reynolds number. If the ratio of this particular Grashoff's number and Reynolds number square is less than 0.1, is less than 0.1, is less than 0.1, then we can say that the regime is a forced convection regime, and in this case we have to neglect the free convection. Okay, forced convection regime, that is negligible free convection, free convection. Okay, and if this ratio is greater than or equal to 10, okay, this ratio is greater than or equal to 10, then we can say that the free convection regime. Free convection regime. Okay, free convection regime, that is negligible forced convection. And if you are getting this value in between 0.1 and 10, then we can say that the both regimes are included, that is free convection also included and forced convection also included in this particular phenomenon. So this Grashoff's number is greater than 0.1 and less than or nearly equal to 10, less than or equal to 10, okay, then mixed convection regime, then mixed convection regime. Then we have to consider the effect of both the convection, that is forced and free. Okay, so write down combined natural and forced convection. Combined natural and forced convection. Combined natural and forced convection. पुकाळे सरांचे combined natural and forced convection. So write down inside in that in many practical example, in many practical examples, natural and forced convection, natural and forced convection, natural and forced convection occur together, natural and forced convection occur together. Occur together, full stop. At high velocity, at high velocity, at high velocity, forced convection, at high velocity, forced convection may be predominant. At high velocity, forced convection may be predominant, but at low velocity, at low velocity, but at low velocity, the effect of natural convection, but at low velocity, the effect of natural convection also must be included. The effect of natural convection also must be included. Also must be included. The natural and forced convection may occur. The natural and forced convection may occur in the same direction. The natural and forced convection may occur in the same direction or in opposite direction, or in opposite direction, or in opposite direction. So conditions we have to check whether the forced convection may consider or combined convection may consider, or only forced or only natural convection we have to consider. So for that we have to use this condition, that is the ratio of Grashoff's number to the Reynolds number square. Okay, first case is if the GR divided by RE square, that is Grashoff's number divided by Reynolds number square, is less than 0.1 is less than 0.1, less than 0.1, then we have to use the forced convection regime, or we have to consider the the flow is, or we have to consider only forced convection. Okay, regime is the area under observation, that is called as a regime. Okay, the area under observation, that, that will be called as a regime. So forced convection regime, and that is negligible free convection. That is negligible free convection. Then second condition, that is Grashoff's number divided by Reynolds number square is greater than 10, greater than or equal to 10. We can directly say that is greater than. So equal to sign is okay, no problem. Grashoff's number divided by Reynolds number square is greater than equal to 10. Then the regime will be a free convection regime. Regime will be free convection regime, that is negligible forced convection. Okay, and if you are getting the ratio in between 0.1 and 10, then that will be the mixed convection regime. Okay, if gr divided by re square is greater than 0.1 and less than or equal to 10, then mixed convection regime. That is, both free and forced convections are important. Both free and forced convections are important. Both free and forced convections are important. Okay, so this is about the, we have discussed about this. Okay, forced convection formulas we have discussed, free convection formulas and empirical correlations we have discussed. Then what about the mixed convection? Okay, so in mixed convection regime, we have to consider the different formulas, that will be the combination of Nusselt, two Nusselt number. Okay, combination of two Nusselt number, that is nothing but nu raised to m. Okay, that is, this is average raised to m. This will be the average Nusselt number, and it is the combination of, we can say that nu suffix forced. Okay, Nusselt number which are getting for forced convection raised to m, raised to m, and plus or minus, plus or minus we have to consider, plus or minus. Okay, plus or minus Nusselt number for free convection. Okay, plus or minus for free convection. Now this is the simplest formula for the calculation of Nusselt number for mixed convection. Okay, so this will be nu raised to m, that will be the combination of both the numbers, Nusselt number for forced convection and Nusselt number for free convection. Now here important thing is nothing but plus or minus sign, when we have to consider the plus sign and when we have to consider the minus sign. As we have discussed earlier that both the forced and free convection are in the same direction. Okay, then we have to consider the positive sign. Okay, and if this free and forced convection is in opposite direction, then we have to consider the negative sign. Then we have to consider the negative sign. And most of the time, this m value, raised to factor is m. Most of the time, this m value is plus 3. Okay, 3 is considered as a m. Okay, so you can write in mixed convection regime, nu raised to m, that is Nusselt number raised to m, nu raised to m is equal to nu raised to m for nu for forced raised to m plus or minus nu for free convection raised to m. Okay, have you written m is equal to 3? M is equal to 3. Generally, we can say that you can write m is equal to 3 generally recommended value. M is equal to 3 generally recommended value. The positive or negative sign is taken. Write down the positive or negative sign is taken. Positive or negative sign is taken if the free convection flow occurs in same or opposite direction. If the free or forced convection free convection flow, if the free convection flow occurs in the same or opposite direction, occurs in the same or opposite direction to that of forced convection, to that of forced convection. Okay, so there are some correlations are there. So we'll discuss in the next lecture about the correlations for the mixed convection and the problem on mixed convection. Okay, so we'll stop here. If you have any doubt, any question, you can ask. If not, you can put up your roll numbers in the chat box and you can view. मी मी काय नाही